To be monogamous or not to be monogamous? That is the question. In the last 100 years, most of what most people have experienced up until the last couple decades has been forced monogamy, meaning if you want to have a relationship and you want to have children, you need to be monogamous or at least give the appearance that you are to your wife while you have something on the side. Disastrous results. Some people think it works or it kind of does, or that we're monogamish or whatnot. And we live in a time now where our protective self or our animal self has got to take the spotlight. Like, in a way of exposing ourselves, our animal self for just getting attention for attention's sake. For guys, that's usually cars and money. For women, it's their body. And we live in this time when we have the opportunity to understand ourselves and our heart and soul more than ever before in the depth of who we are. And we have the opportunity to get lost in kind of mindless bullshit online and attention seeking and whatnot. 3 stages. Forced monogamy is what most people participate in, or I live in Latin America. I say that they don't participate in forced monogamy, even though that's what I would call it. Many people in Colombia are in open relationships without permission, otherwise known as cheating. Cheating, not that Americans don't cheat, just in Latin America it's more prevalent, not just in Colombia in general. And if it's a question you're asking yourself as a guy, what do I do? I look pretty tired, by the way. Go to bed a little bit. Because you have these raw animal desires of wildness and passion and fun. And then if you've done some or a lot of inner work of self-development, whether that showed up in plant medicine, you're going to seminars, you have a coach, you're taking care of your body, biohacking, meditation, you know you have something more that's not just your body, it's your heart, maybe physically or energetically, your soul. And oftentimes as guys, we don't think we can find both those in a relationship. Oh, the sex was amazing, but like, man, she had a lot of shit going on. Well, the truth is that the sex was amazing and she had a lot of shit going on. You probably had a lot of shit going on too. Maybe just not as obvious. Ask me how I know, bro. So we live in this unique time of getting to make it however we want it, of people being more just animal desires a couple hundred years ago to the societal adaptation of monogamy. And where most people stop is they have those 2 stages and they can go through, and I've done this, maybe you've done it, but you're monogamous as a young man, then you have a breakup, then you want to play the field or do the open relationship thing or a poly thing, which are similar but different. Playboy phase, I think it can be super necessary for some guys to have the fun of it and also realize it never fulfills you, like never. It could be so fun. It never fulfills you and there's not depth to it. Dan Blazarian, of all people, talking about how monogamy is better and how he realized he was a sex addict. If that doesn't teach you something, I don't know what does. I highly recommend reading his book. I read the entire 650-page thing. Very interesting. Will teach you a lot, and if you can read between the lines, it'll teach you even more. Excuse me. So what's a guy to do if you feel like you have to choose between one or the other? Well, I can have this wild, passionate sex, or I can be really connected with someone like I really love. And that's part of the limit of the thinking is it's either A or it's B, right? Why can't it be both? Why can't it even be better than you think? And what if it was easier? And as guys, we can be so rational and think, I need this new strategy. I need a new process so I can get the date, or you gotta, one of my buddies, he was doing this, had great success with this. You gotta match with them on Bumble and then you send them a video message, or on Instagram, I think it was. And then it shows up different and the conversion rate. Some of that stuff may yield results, But I think a lot of it doesn't work because it's figuring out the how, the strategy, in some cases, the manipulation. What I have found with many of the best couples I've ever met, worked with, connected, helped, my own relationship, the best way to find what you're looking for in a relationship is to work on yourself. And to work on yourself with no end in mind, because that can be the other trap once I'm perfectly healed and I don't have any fears or triggers. But to realize, all right, you had a breakup, there's some stuff to do, and to attract from that place. And then decide, what do you really want to build? Do you want forced monogamy? I think it goes terribly not well, personally. Personally, I'm a fan of monogamy at this point. Wasn't before. Or do you want the open relationship thing? Personally, I think it goes terribly not well for most people. Or you can kind of see the spectrum someone's on of like, yeah, I'll read their biography in 7 years, or I'll read it, a leprechaun in a pyramid in Vegas, or a rock on top of a mountain in Bali, or a fire-breathing dragon in an ayahuasca ceremony told me to open my relationship, and then the girl believed it. You do that for a while, and then we can read their wife's biography or their ex-wife biography 7 years later. So what do you do? To work on and to dedicate to know who you are and what you want, and heal and integrate that and alchemize that and turn the shit from your past into gold, almost like if God, I'll use my sock, if God, I can tell it's real, it's got stuff from the ground, gave you this thing that was covered in dog shit, and you didn't realize that was dog shit wrapping paper of whatever you went through in your life, whatever you've overcome, and that there's solid gold underneath that to alchemize, changing that into, you're not changing into gold, you're just removing what's been in the way to reveal what the truth is. And it makes me think of something. If you've been a guy who's went back and forth, now again, you might be thinking, what's the third? Is there more? Well, it's to choose something where you have something magical and to believe it's true. If you don't believe it's true, I see almost no one in any danger of, they're like, well, you can't. And that God, the universe goes, you're right, it's impossible. It'll never be true, you're right. It's just some bullshit on Instagram, which a lot of times it can be, to be fair. So it's to commit to yourself, to honor yourself first, and to know what you want and believe it's possible. And then it's not to get stuck in the forced monogamy, I gotta do this feels losing my freedom and constrictive, but I have love, or wild sex, open relationships, sex clubs, prostitutes, what am I missing? A lot of Tinder, Playboy phase, and then you go back and forth. And it's what happens with a lot of guys. I call it Medellinitis or Miami syndrome, kind of one and the same. It can be similar enough. It's the belief that you can actually create really what you want, and you can have it for not years, but decades. And then it's to look at and for other people who have ideally all or some of it, because there is layers to it. It's not like just, I'm making 100 grand a month, I want to make $1 million a month, or whatever it is. Or making some financial leap. It's actually layers, it's not just linear. And then it's deciding really what you want on a conscious level. If that's open relationships and polyamory, great. I think for a lot of people, it really doesn't work. Ask me how I know. I thought I was gonna have 3 Colombian wives. I changed my mind to 1. And that was my plan for years. 10 kids, 3 Colombian wives, living in a finca, like a house out of the city. Save that for another story. I'm here sitting in my living room in Medellin, Colombia after nearly a decade. That was really what I thought. It was not what I really wanted. Might have been fun, but it's just not, it's not fulfilling. It's not real. It's not deep. And I wanted to share a story tonight. I'll close with this. There was a body worker guy I was working with a while back. And I had made the decision, but I still felt a sense of loss. Like I was like, I want to be monogamous. I know that's the best choice for me, and I'll sacrifice my animal desires to give to this woman. And then I was like, that feels kind of like I'm doing the right thing, or it is true in something that I hadn't quite figured out years back. But I also feel like I'm losing a part of myself, which doesn't feel good. I'll never forget, this guy said to me, he wasn't a sex coach, wasn't whatever. We're talking, and I was like, oh, that's nice, you can give her that gift, or whatever I said. And he's like, I'm giving myself the gift first of like being focused and having one person to serve. I forget how he said it, but something just clicked of like, you need to honor yourself first at a deeper level. Like, and there's nuances. Do you honor yourself first by having 10 jelly donuts? Maybe you do once a year. If you do that once a week, even if you go to the gym a lot, you're gonna have a pretty big enough consequence. If you do that once a day, you're in trouble. If you do that once a month, it's manageable. You can still go to the gym. But it got me to see things differently of, what if you could have everything you want? Have a deep sense of freedom. What if you could be in a relationship and have even more freedom than you did when you were single? When we have kind of the, let's call it what it is, bro, like the Peter Pan syndrome, illusion of freedom, playing the field. But you could actually be with someone, have commitments, have responsibilities, have an enormous amount of freedom. And you could have fun, and you could be connected to your heart, and have passionate, wild sex, and your values aligning, and her feeling so safe and cherished and taken care of. What if that was a thing? Well, I challenge you to step into an even deeper level of consciousness, not some hippie woo-woo term, but like the awareness of who you are to make a decision of what you want in your vision. If you believe in this sort of thing, I do as of recently, with this year of the snake stuff. If you've had a weird last couple of years, I have. It's been awesome. 2024 was rough. 2025 was awesome. This year will be even better. That whatever you want to shed behind around, could be the behavior or the who you've been in the past, or the not making a decision. So you can become who you really are, who you really need to be, not just for this year of 2026, but for the next decade of your life. You can have what you want, and I can't recommend enough not to listen to people that don't have it and don't believe it.